Hello and welcome to Anti-Just. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Rob.
And we are dusting down the delicious and delightful Hardacres. Marvellous. Series 2, Episode 5. Oh my god, we've only got one more episode.
I know,
left.
It's gone very
no.
fast.
I know, Channel 5, sort of binge watching streaming. Well, we're totally there for that. We've been there for it. So, I can't believe we've only got only 2 episodes left.
Yes.
No. So, on this episode of the Hardacres, quite a lot happens. Everyone's thinking that Liza is devastated, but she's not actually coming across that devastated that the fella's gone. I mean, 'cause he's only known him about 20 minutes.
I know. But it was a very intensive 20 minutes.
I know, they barely shared a packet of pork scratchings and a tin of Vinto. So anyway, everyone's trying to say, Mary's trying to divert her attention with the Harvest Festival, and she's writing the signs for the Harvest Festival and trying to get everyone involved with the local church Harvest Festival. So she's very invested in it, and some of her students are going to be doing a reading at the Harvest Festival, which she's very excited about. And their Lady Imelda is playing silly buggers with regards to getting someone from the authorities, education authorities, to come in, and he comes in this episode.
Yeah. It's some sort of moral improvement society or something like that. That I must admit, I if you listen to a previous episode, I did sort of scratch my head as to what the practical steps could be, but I now understand that it is social engineering rather than the voice of authority.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'd say, just bugger off. I mean, because they're not actually giving certificates out or anything along those lines. They're helping people read.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he does enter. It seems like he's staggered off a panto because this crashes in.
Yeah, there was
into the classroom.
To be fair, there was a whiff of the Demon King about him as he sort of seemed to arrive through the floor with a puff of smoke.
Yeah, but it was completely. Yeah, I know it was a dramatic entrance.
Yeah, it was a bit Toast of London. I thought.
Actually, he did sound a lot like Toast of London, wasn't it? So for other dear listeners,
I thought this could be Matt Berry. This definitely could be Matt Berry.
Because there's pronunciation. He came from straight from the dramatic art of sort of elocution lessons.
Yeah.
But he did have quite a magnificent mutton chops with a handlebar moustache.
He absolutely did, and he did not say Lady Gaga at any point. At any point, it would be rather rather out of time really if he did. But
so anyway, he goes in there. Mary Hardacre sees her ass, which she's very good at sort of flying off the handle, and then he says, "I will speak to your husband." I'm thinking, oh. Yeah, but Hardacres is really good. It's a female-driven sort of storyline. The men always seem a little bit useless. It is safe to say. I mean, Sam Hardacre had a touch of a headache and has sweated in bed for a bit, and he's coming around.
So to be fair, if it had been Mary with the Russian flu, she'd have just got on with it.
Yeah. She might have loosened the button on her blouse.
Yeah. Because you know that, if Mrs. D came down with the Russian flu, she'd still be sweeping the grate at 6 a.m. None of this swooning,
and
moping around,
so
looking sweaty.
Yes. And it's just So this part of it, I am feeling a little bit. I'm not overly keen on this plot line.
Which plot line?
The plot line of getting sort of the moral authority in to shut the school down, because I don't think they have any authority to do that. That I don't think there was an education authority.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's.
Well, the kids weren't getting educated. When were the kids forced to go to school?
Well, we didn't see that, but you know, if you look up Wikipedia, say for example, or chat, if you hop onto Chat GPT, then you know the Education Act had been. So we might not have seen the children being educated, but certainly by 1895, minimal education standards were in place. So there was public education. Now, your point about whether the Board of Education could have the power to prevent private classes from taking place,
especially when they're free.
Yeah, I'm
not
sure. However, as always, with all the things that we ever watch at any point, we'd have to suspend disbelief. Yeah,
I mean, I'm still there for the Hardacres, but this sort of plot point, I'm feeling a little bit. And I do love the way the Hardacres goes through, it rollicks the story along.
Well, it does rollick. There's no doubt about it.
In
the best possible way.
In the best possible way. I mean, I don't feel as though that. I mean, they're still talking about all these shops. We've only actually seen one shop, and it always seems empty of people. I think I've seen 2 people in the shop at any given time, and it seems that Joe Hardacre is feeling snubbed a little bit because there was a bit of a furore about this can machine, which sort of like where's the can machine gone?
Have they been
duped? I've given 50% of it up front, and and the offices are now empty.
And of course, the automatic assumption is that Joe has made an egregious error.
I mean, admittedly, probably we went into it without actually considering it. But then again, the Hardacre men haven't actually been very good at actually making physical decisions. Because if we look back to series 1, they were very much against Mary Hardacre and Harry sort of setting up the herring store, which basically made their fortune. So, although...
So I refer you to your comment of a few moments ago.
The men are pretty useless.
This is a female-led drama,
and I'm super led by that. And I think
the female characters are the strong characters. They're the smart characters. They're the worldly wise, and And
I think Ma Hardacre has been well and truly underused in this series. Last series, she was a smuggler. She was having that dalliance with the gamekeeper. She was putting her foot wrong, and she was being a bit obstructive. But then she was brought around by seeing what Mary Hardacre, where she wanted to go, and she wanted to be sort of accepted.
Yeah. And usually for our podcast, I seem to be being cast in the role of the voice of reason. Or
really? I mean, because as you said in one of the previous episodes, it's just like Ma is being underused by the scriptwriters. Julie Graham is such a fantastic actor, and she's being underused. She's basically being used as a dialogue to propel it along, as in like, walk with me, George, so I can explain something bloody obvious, and. It just feels she's not really having much of a dialogue with the rest of the family, where in the first series she was having a lot of opinions about a lot of things, and she is very well. Although she comes across as gruff and what have you, she is her character is incredibly savvy. I know. So we're brought to question her savviness because the evil, deliciously evil Lady Esmeralda. Imelda, sorry, Esmeralda.
Anyway,
someone with the hump.
Yeah. We've all got the hump. Yeah, well, I mean, we're certainly, she doesn't seem to be particularly savvy, as it would seem that she's had the wool well and truly pulled over her eyes by Lady Esmeralda.
Lady Imelda, and the Devon sisters.
The Devon.
Oh, sorry. I mean, this is polite society. You've got there's a card game that's been a bridge card game that Lady Imelda has sort of duped Mar into joining. It just feels a bit. I mean, I don't think the wealthy set gave away the sort of the deeds and everything, because they wouldn't have owned the deeds would have been in the gentleman's name, which is the patriarchy system. So having the deeds to Hardacre Hall, which is what was inferred, is
right. So I've got two things.
Got issues.
I've got tennis shoes. So there's a couple of things there. One is that I think, and I've not done any research on this, which is research me shirt. We never do any research about anything, so that's why we're always consistently wrong. But I suspect that back then, physical possession of the deeds was ownership. So I think whoever physically, like bearer shares, if you physically possess the bit of paper, then you physically own.
Oh, right. So it wasn't actually in a name. It was just.
I think the whole ownership thing and the land registry and all the rest of it, that definitely comes after the 1890s. So in theory, that stands. Whether or not that particular scenario would ever realistically have happened, just go with it, Jonathan. Go with it. You're enjoying it. So
don't get me wrong, I love it.
Stop being a pettifogger. That's not a word you hear very often. I don't know. Would you have heard it in the 1890s? The word pettifogger.
You would have had a pettifogger. I mean, they use it in Schitt's Creek.
I always think that's an American expression that might not have made it across the Atlantic until the 1930s with talkies, but I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, so I should probably shut up.
But it just feels, I think the plot points are there. It could have possibly been done in a different way.
Well, everything can possibly be done in a different way.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
but actually, what I was going to say was, don't pull a face. I am allowed to talk. It's not the Johnny show. Remember that. And I'm being quite stern about this. I've got my stern face on.
He has, dear listeners.
I do. So what your point? I can't remember what it was now. Yes, your point was about whether or not Ma is being underused, and all I can say to that is that the use of characters in drama is driven by the narrative function. So it comes down to what the writers wanted to achieve narratively. And if it so happens that from your standards there wasn't anything for Ma to do, which I would refute that, because I personally think she gets to do quite a lot, but that's because that's what the narrative required. So otherwise, let me finish. Otherwise, you just end up creating busy work.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I feel that it's a bit loose for me. It's loosey goosey. For me, first series was super tight. This series, it seems to have gone little bit wobbly with regards to the plot point. Everyone is doing a really great job. However, I'm feeling some of the plot points, although the first series was completely bonkers and great, this series, it seems to, I don't know, it doesn't. it doesn't have that same essence as the first one. It feels so like there's a few of these plot points. It just feels, how can we just manipulate them this to this? Like, we've got 3 scenes. What can we wedge into it? I mean, I hope with series 3, if that ever gets commissioned, and I do hope it does, I hope that they take it a little bit further forward, because it does seem to be. It seems to have, these last 2 episodes seem to have lost the way, because in this episode we've got the Harvest Festival, where you got the panto villain of the education moderator coming in and don't want to speak to a woman and trying to talk him round, and then him sort of accusing Mary of being, just playing it as a lady of leisure, that's just a charitable thing, so she'll lose interest in it, and then
which is not an unreasonable position.
And then saying, I want to shut you down. I'm thinking, how can you shut down free classes that aren't being given with a certificate or anything like that? I just feel that's a little bit, well, that's bonkers. And then you've got the card game with the Devon sisters, where they, and you just think it doesn't feel very believable that Ma is going to put the whole Hardacre Hall on the market for a card game, and ultimately Lady Imelda's ruby necklace is not the same worth as bricks and mortar, and you just think no. You just think no. Or you could understand with the in series 1 when she has a poker game and she's cheating at the poker game, but the stakes are a silver milk jug.
Yeah, the stakes are different. But then if you consider series 1 was about the establishing the source of the wealth, and then the ups and downs of trying to establish your position in a society that, well, by all accounts, doesn't really want you.
No.
And so this series is continuing that arc, but as you said, the stakes are higher.
Yeah, and it just for me,
and that's what I'm not saying that as a criticism.
Well, I am. So, and it's just it didn't. Well, you have to suspend disbelief. For me, it sort of, yeah. I'm not overly invested in that sort of plot, because I thought, yeah, Ma's not that stupid to get gulloped, to be sort of be that gullible. It's very, very things, but she is very wary of everybody, especially the hoity-toity brigade, which is a consistent thing. Although she's very friendly with George, and I like the storyline with her and George setting up the rhubarb marmalade or rhubarb jam and the rhubarb cordial, and the nice little I think the simple storylines of George sort of entering his rhubarb cordial in, and Mrs. Drysden sort of giving it the number 1 thing, much to the consternation of Beasley, who'd won it for number 1 for 4 years on the trot. I was hoping this would be number 5. Ooh. And I really like the storyline with regards to Liza. She's doing the sign writing for the Harvest Festival, and she's got some ideas for products for the canned stuff, and she's done the label for Ma and George's rhubarb jam. And for those type of storylines, I'm invested in them.
Yeah, I mean those are, and what I would say is that what you've been focusing on up till now, the card game and so on, these are kind of like throwaway plot lines. What you're now getting onto is actually what I think is the episode is really about. So you're getting obsessed with minutiae.
But I'm sorry, but let's say I am entitled to my opinion set, because I love these type of dramas and I'm really invested in them, and I don't think they don't need to have that many throwaway plots, especially something which they're making it, the stakes are really high. I mean, the stakes are really high. I mean, the stakes, Harry's letter that he gave, that's another plot point on this one, and he's asking, "Oh, can I have my letter back?" And
Yeah.
he said, "Oh, I didn't have a letter."
Yeah. So what this episode really is about, what the emotional driving force of this episode are Liza's question mark around her future, Joe's question mark about his future, and Harry's question mark about his future.
So it's
because he's got this sword of Damocles hanging over his head now.
And Callum has now been inserted into the interest factor of Liza.
Yeah.
Which, oh, thank Christ!
Finally.
Sorry. Oh,
I love a slow burn.
He's really not. And there was a really lovely scene where you had Joe and Betsy, you had Harry and his tutor, and you had Liza and Callum. They were playing some sort of game with sort of horseshoes, and that felt intimate. That did feel very intimate, and there was a sort of throwaway conversation that Liza was saying, "Oh, I've been speaking with Dad about the this, that, and the other, and he gave me a compliment." And Joe sees his arse. Well, I should have been in that meeting, and I think the patriarchy story between Sam and Joe, that's very interesting, and it was just. I feel that could have been dealt with a little bit. It could have been more developed on that, because that felt like it was being treated as a throwaway. But it's and there was part of an episode in episode 6 which we watched, which we'll reference in that episode. And it's just think they're losing. I think the script writers were. For me, it works on so many levels, but the big things, it just felt a bit cartoonish, but also I really loved the domesticity between Lady Emma and Lady Adela, because after the Harvest Festival, where she'd done what her mother had said and bailed on it.
Yeah, she'd feigned a
migraine, and letting down one of the teachers. That was really, and she felt like she was letting it down, and that was really good. But there was a really lovely scene where Lady Emma is reading The Penny Dreadful.
Yeah.
And Adela's reading a book, and you could hear the father coming in, George coming in, who's won the cordial prize, and she's there acting all, "I'm feeling a little bit better with a cold compress on my head hiding the Penny Dreadful." But she was invested, she was interested, and she was pleased that it went well for the student, because she is invested in that. And that's what I really liked. And I really those sort of things I really liked. And I think the big plot points, or the big throwaway plot points, as you say, I felt like you could have had something, but I don't know, a bit more tangibility, really. It just felt a bit cartoonish. I mean, where I'm looking at the Hardacres as something very similar to All Creatures Great and Small, which not the last series, but the last few series have been brilliant, and it's just on the simple domesticity and the bonkersness and the misunderstandings and that sort of thing. That's what makes it, and makes it really cozy. But these big dramatic nonsenses, I just feel it just didn't land as well as it did in series 1. So that's my two penneth.
Yeah. So essentially, what it sounds like you're saying is that some of the plot ideas tip a little bit into melodrama.
Yes.
And I'm not going to disagree with that. But what I will say is that I think there's a lot of ambition in the series, because and you always say how you enjoy things that rollick along. I think sometimes, not speaking specifically about the Hardacres, but I think sometimes things can rollick along a bit too fast and don't allow enough time, or aren't allowed enough time to let to let complicated plots develop
and land.
So you end up with taking a really good idea, but having to simplify it because you have to squeeze it into not enough time.
It's not enough time, and I don't think there's enough budget. And I touched on that in the last episode. I feel as though you've got All Creatures Great and Small, which has got a whole heap of budget, and it's very glossy for a period drama. Where with this, there's only a few sets, great cast. However, it feels like there's a budgetary constraint. It should spend a little bit more money on it, and then they could probably deliver, rather than having that cartoony sort of panto thing of the authoritarian coming in, and you feel like you should be shouting out, "He's behind you," sort of thing.
I think at one point we did.
Yeah, we did. I love it dearly. I'm a massive champion of the Hardacres, but I feel as though
we never give anything a free pass.
No, we can't. Yeah, you say everything
because there's no point. There'll be no point in us sitting here.
So this is no criticism whatsoever to any of the actors
or anyone at all. It's absolutely it's not. I think what we have to recognise is the constraints that you're under. Particularly when you've got All Creatures Great and Small sucking up all the budget.
Yes,
probably. I've no idea if that's.
Well,
true
now All Creatures Great and Small have run out of all the Harriet books, and when they can't, it's and the last series was completely off piste and it lost its way because it didn't have a particular framework to actually deal with. I mean, I think they used. I think
what we have to say is that sort of just thinking generally, some things do go on longer than they really need to, and once something feels like it's
lost its
thrashing around trying to find something to
talk about,
to hook on to, then you sort of start to think, well, maybe it's time to give it a break and spend the money on something else.
All Creatures Great and Small, Hardacres is in the All Creatures Great and Small slot. Which should be a Sunday evening at 8:00. That should be.
That's the law. I thought there was legislation
for me. That is the sweet spot. But for some reason, Channel 5 have pushed it into Thursdays, the Thursday sort of evening slot. And fair enough. So we're used to now watching All Creatures Great and Small at that slot. But All Creatures Great and Small, the last series, basically went on the plot lines were on anecdotes that Harriet had actually said in talk shows and articles and things like that. It wasn't actually in his books, so they've lost its way a little bit, and it just didn't feel right. But the Hardacres, I think Hardacres has got so much sort of potential.
Yeah. But on your point about which night of the week it should be on, if you're going to drop all the episodes, in a lump on a streaming service, then actually what day of the week you put it on has absolutely no bearing on anything whatsoever. No. Now that's a whole other conversation about that, but it's.
But I mean, for me, on the traditionalist side of things, I would have liked to have seen this at the 8:00 slot, and because people want. I mean, I want a nice period drama, something glossy, something frothy, but it's got some substance. I mean, there's so many thrillers that are on. I mean, anyone that's going to work on a Monday and they're all up looking to wind down of an evening, and then suddenly their palpitations are going. You want to have something cozy, rosy, and slightly. Ooh, what will happen next? That's what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, that's me.
You're looking for cocoa or Horlicks on a Sunday
I want a visual mug of cocoa, maybe with some marshmallows and some whipped cream on the top. And Hardacres does deliver that.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from that, have we missed anything out from this episode? Joe's got his nose out of joint.
So Lady Imelda's in possession of
the letter.
Of the letter, and she believes she is in possession of Hardacre Hall.
So, because this episode ends with sort of Ma losing.
Yes.
And Lady Imelda looking quite self-satisfied.
Yes.
Boo. Boo.
Boo.
Boo. So, anyway, dear listeners, I think this wraps up this episode.
So we'll be back
very shortly.
Very soon we will return
with episode
6.
Our opinions, and we've got lots of them about episode 6. So, in the meantime, thank you ever so much for joining us. This is farewell from me, Jonathan.
And it's goodbye from me, Rob.
Bye-bye.
Bye.